Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today I want to talk about some of the things that have happened in this region since I've already done some of the more videos on famous people. I figured I'd start with a shameful moment in our history because they've just recently dedicated a plaque to the memory of what happened. In my own hometown here of Pound, you can go over the mountain and it on the top of that mountain you see the division between Virginia and Kentucky. Literally, it has the sign saying leaving Virginia, entering Kentucky, and the other way around. So, but in that area there, that um, a shameful moment did happen. Um, a man named Leonard Woods was lynched by a mob on that gap on the actual border. They broke him out of jail in Whitesburg, Kentucky on the 30th of November, 1927. Um, he was accused of having killed the foreman of a mine because Woods himself was a coal miner. Um, the mob took him from jail and away out of Whitesburg, Kentucky, and they hanged him and they shot his body several times. It was a killing that became widely known, and it was the last uh, in what had been a long line of such murders in the area. But it also resulted in strong anti-lynching legislation in Virginia. Um, Now, again, this was the very end of November 1927. So accounts between uh, sources vary very differently depending on if they're a white source or a black source. So, as I have said, um, as I have said before, this area wasn't real big on slave owning, though it still had issues with African Americans as slaves because they saw them as taking jobs from them, because this area has always been poor. and because they could take their frustrations out on a Negro man, an African American man, I'm not surprised they did so. I know I've been told before that there used to be um, actual sects, sects, of the KKK in the region. But yeah. Leonard Woods himself was only 30-year-old and lived in the town of Jenkins, Kentucky, which is just over the mountain from my own hometown of Pound. So it's like you leave Pound, Virginia, you enter Jenkins, Kentucky. But yeah, Jenkins was a company town uh, built to serve as uh, homes for the miners. Um, One of the things, as often is the struggle, is the fear of a lack of money, a lack of employment. And while the co-business often provided decent wages, there was a point in 1927 that the coal boom in the region was ending. And um, immense rainstorms, this combination had caused many workers in the region to lose their jobs. So it was this mix of things that led to this moment. Um, but yeah. But what happened was very disgraceful. But in the moments of history, you have to acknowledge the good and the bad, or you're trying to write history instead of acknowledging it. If you don't accept these kinds of things, if you don't want to mention these kinds of things, you're not wanting to really study the history of a place. Sadly, this was one of the sadder moments. But as I said, this has kind of been brought up because they've recently produced a plaque on the gap on the border between Virginia and Kentucky. But yeah, uh, it's a sad and disturbing moment. But I am glad they have acknowledged what happened. But I'll go ahead and leave some sources in the description below the video. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, later.